So, you are a fellow Jianxin main, I see. Well, then this video will be perfect for you. This is a guide about how to use her, what weapons she should use, all the right gear for her, upgrades, and more. So let's get right into it. To start off with, Jianxin is a character that specializes in crowd control, which is quite a unique ability. She is also a shooter, a healer, a potential sub DPS, or even DPS. In this video, I will be showing you how to build her as a DPS, as a Jianxin main, and there is a lot to explain about all her mechanics, skills, abilities, ultimates, and more. So let's start off with that. Now, her basic attacks are already super interesting because, like everybody or almost everybody else, she has 4 consecutive attacks. However, her third attack actually very weakly, you don't really notice it that big, but it actually pulls some enemies in, which is very interesting. It's not crucial, but still good. Now, her skill is where things already get super interesting. It's a channeled ability. While you are channeling your skill, you actually gain 100% damage reduction, meaning when people attack you while you are in your state of your skill, you take 0 damage for pretty much 1 enemy attack. This is because as soon as an enemy attacks you, you counter attack them because of them breaking your skill state. For those who play League of Legends, see it as a Irelia W. It's like while you are channeling your skill, you gain 0 damage, or I mean you gain like 100% damage reduction, so take 0 damage. And while that happens, if an enemy does attack you, you release your skill early and counter attack them. This is also a great way to parry, for example, bosses, because as soon as they attack you and you just use your skill, you counterattack. Her skill alone makes her so good in so many different ways. It is actually kind of incredible. But this is just the beginning, because now we're gonna get over to her passive, or the green bar above her HP. Now, if we're talking about her forte circuit, or what I like to call it, her passive, I don't even know where to start at this point because it just does so much. This is her entire kit. To start off with, it's a channeled charge attack, and it has to be full for for her to use. Unlike some characters, they have like bars and charges and like that, and stuff like that. But hers has to be full. So like I said, the bar above her health bar has to be fully green, and as you can see, it has 2 sort of stages, 2 like lines in the bar. These are very important. You have to hold the charge attack as long as you can, and it is very, very important to get not just to the second line, but the last one. Like, it has to let go by itself. Why this is so important is because for every charge that you hit, her shield, healing, and damage output becomes stronger the longer you hold it. And even though a lot of people don't notice it, but the last one, like when it just releases it by itself, it does so much damage. It is insane for a supposed to be sub DPS. And not only that, the shield just becomes so much greater as well. You can see by every charge it has, it becomes bigger, but when it releases by itself, it almost becomes half your HP, which is just pretty much insane. It's pretty much a DPS that is also a healer, a shielder, and just so much more. Almost everything is in her kit. Now let's talk about her ultimate. For those who play Genshin, her ultimate is pretty similar to that of Venti. It basically creates this sort of hole, or like this yin and yang thing that pretty much sucks all the enemies in. Obviously, it doesn't really apply to big enemies or bosses or stuff like that, but the combos you can do with her ultimate and her passive is it's incredible. So let me show you a quick showcase of what I mean. Now, I was gonna showcase it on like small enemies, but her ultimate already kills the enemies, so I'm just showcasing it on a boss. Also, something I forgot to mention is that when you are using her passive, as in charging her skill, you are actually gaining damage reduction. So as you are dealing damage multiply along with the ult in this case, you are also gaining a shield while gaining damage reduction, and once you release the skill or the charged attack, you are also just healing. So as you can see in this showcase, I ulted, used my passive all at the same time, burst damage, it was insane. Now, her intro and outro skill are also really interesting. As for her outro skill, she basically gives about 15% damage bonus for everyone's ultimate or Resonance Liberation, which is really good. And her intro skill is even better, which when she gets switched on the field, she creates this sort of small thing like her ultimate, but like a smaller version that also sucks enemies and just deals some damage. And so both her intro and outro skill are really good. It's like I said, she's a sub DPS, so she can actually also make your team stronger as you use her outro skill. Now that we've finished talking about how her kit works, how she works, all her stuff like that, let's get right into her build. Now, I have been very lucky and very fortunate that I managed to get Jianxin very early and get her weapon very early. It's not her weapon, but it's still a 5-star weapon. So, of course, this is a 5-star weapon, and yeah, sure, it is good and all. And obviously, I am going to use it.
Coming right up.
Tea, a steadfast companion to the people of Jinja. We find our young monk laboring at the tea house.
He's as good as
I'm not
ever.
going to use it because I got the 5-star, and people go for the 5-star, go for it. But as long as you don't have the weapon, go to
With
the
such
weapons
mindfulness and integrity, diligently she earns her keep, far from the mountain of her upbringing.
Palatable, I'd say. But alas, it cannot compare to the Yunlu tea.
How do you make that tea? Enlighten me, please. I'll serve it as you wish.
Oh, such nerve. I'll have you know how its exquisiteness transcends your meager comprehension.
It is so good, I don't even know what to say.
To begin with, one must carefully gather the morning dew from lotus leaves on the heads of gull puffs, without agitating those delicate creatures, or the water won't taste as fine. Then, only the pristine shoots from elusive teal frill nests, perched atop treacherous peaks, will suffice. Finally, the tea must be roasted with ancient Uria wood, hailing from perilous domains, rife with ferocious beasts.
Here you are, looking like a decent challenge. Come forth. Serenity. Clarity. Tranquility. Cleanse primal vision. Gather cosmic force. Revelation. Oneness. She lasts evermore.
As of for now, and pretty much in the future too.
And that's why it's impossible to.
Sir, here's the Yunlu tea, as you instructed. How do you like it?
Which, not arrow damage, which increases your arrow damage, which is kind of obvious. For now, I have the Moonlit
No!
Cloud,
This divine elixir far surpasses any tea I've ever had!
Another day,
where I've been getting
another
the best
progress.
thereof. But as for the
Hey!
main stats,
Oh, not you
in
again!
the main echo, you're
Stop!
either gonna want crit
Stop,
rate
come
or crit
back!
damage as for 4 points. In the second slot, you're gonna want arrow damage, and obviously energy regen or attack is also a substitute stat, but arrow damage is gonna be the best one, and that also applies for the third slot. Now for the last 2 slots, it's just gonna be attack. It's for everyone, you're gonna do 4 3 3 1 1, which is crit rate, crit damage, or most people, especially DPSs, you're gonna want 4 3 3 1 1, which is crit rate, crit damage, the damage bonus such as arrow in Jianxin's case, arrow damage bonus, and then attack and attack. Obviously, this doesn't really apply for every character because, for example, healers, they're going to want healing bonus, then HP, etc, etc. There is also this other set, which is like the two sources set, which is like an attack sort of set, which increases your attack and damage bonus, stuff like that. This also works. This is a very versatile set, but go for the arrow set. Now, if we're gonna talk about team comps, it doesn't really matter since this is a skill-based game, but as you can see, my team comp is just Jianxin, the electro guy, and the main character because they're just that good. But to be honest, I only use Jianxin, so it doesn't really matter. However, there is this 4-star character that I sadly still don't have yet, but he boosts the damage of your DPS so much, which is Mortefi, this guy. It's just insane. He increases your damage. It's really good. If you're pulling for a Jian, just try to get him as well if you want to main both or something like that. Ultimately, just make the team that you want to use. Like, just use the 3 characters that you find the best. Of course, there are better characters for better moments to improve your team's damage and stuff like that, but this is, after all, a skill-based game, so it doesn't really matter that much. But like I said, ultimately, it is a game, so just have fun, choose the characters that you enjoy the most, play the way that you want to, don't rush anything. I know this is not really a tip video guide to how to rush to the highest rank. I know that I'm quite a high rank, but that's because I really enjoy playing this game. So but yeah, like I said, just use any characters that you want, use any weapons that you want, ultimately use any echoes that you want. It really does not matter as long as you are enjoying the game the way you want to. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this guide video about Jianxin. I hope all of you who don't have her yet get her, and any potential weapons you want for her. Once again, thank you for watching this video and enjoy using Jianxin.